Good day, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to join you at this conference. Yeah, unfortunately, the world has turned upside down and I'm not able to join you there. I would have liked to be there in person and then meet up with you. But I think, thanks for allowing me the opportunity to introduce West Wits to you. We're based here in South Africa and we've got a significant project here in South Africa that I would like to introduce to you, and also in Western Australia. So yeah, thanks for allowing me the opportunity just to go through this presentation. I will get to the end. I think one thing that's on everybody's mind is that we were in a fortunate position this morning to present our DFS. And so I've got one or two slides that I've included in this presentation. So it's very hot off the press. So yeah, thanks for the opportunity to also take you through that one. So just to put you into perspective, we're a small cap mining company with the ambition to grow into a mid-tier operating company. And, we've set ourselves three key objectives to achieve that. One is to grow our current mineral resource base and to declare reserves. The second one is to put our South African project into operation. And then the third one is to enhance the value of our Mount Cecelia project that we've got in WA. So as I mentioned there, we believe that we're in two highly prospective and fortunate geographical areas where a lot of mining has been taking place over the years. And, we know that there in Australia, there's a lot of activity happening around our Western Australia project. So just a bit of detail about our South African project is we recently announced that we've got a 3.5 million ounce JORC compliant resource at about 4.2 gram a ton. So we're quite excited to now take this resource and then to put it into production. We started with a scoping study about 18 months ago, and that has yielded that we've got a significant life of mine there. We've got 5 mining targets there that we can put into production. And then, and I'll get to that a bit later. We've recently been granted our mining right. So now we're and we've just, as I said, we've just this morning announced our DFS results. So we're quite excited with the way going forward. Then if we jump into our Mount Cecelia project, that's located, right in the area where all the action is happening at the moment. I'll show you a plan a bit later. We've got, last year we embarked on a aerial EM surveys that yielded 8 highly prospective targets for us, and we've just now recently completed ground EM surveys on 4 of the highly prospective targets. So we are actively pushing the Mount Cecelia project also up the value chain. You can see there on this slide, our market cap has grown over the last 2 years from about 10 million Aussie to about 88 million Aussie, where we're standing at the moment. We have recently raised money on so you can see there that we're currently in a good cash position there. And that cash is mainly going to be used to push forward our South African project. And then, I'll get into a bit of an early works discussion a bit later. But the way that I see it now, we've got, all the positives for us at the moment. We've got an agreed granted mining right. We've got an experienced board on our hands. We've got good support from a management team that we've got here. And then also, we've got we're very well empowered here in South Africa. The BE structure, as you can see there, is a requirement for us to mine in South Africa. And we are fortunate enough to have a BE partner that supports us. And, this BE partner company of ours will help us to push forward this South African project. So I think if we look at everything, all the building blocks to establish this company. We've got everything in place now. And, you know, we're now in a position to move forward and then deliver to the investors what we set out to do in the beginning. You know, this slide that I've got up here is sort of the ambition that we've got, that highlights that in our South African project, we aim to get up to about 95,000 ounces. The feasibility study that we've presented today only contains about 50,000 ounces of the total 95 that we want to get to. So there's still a lot more to come for us. We want to then enhance our exploration in Western Australia. And then, you know, we are fortunate, as I mentioned, to have an experienced board and management team that's supporting us on this journey. Right, there's a couple of guys that's been quite instrumental. We've got our chairman, Michael Quinnett. He's been with the company for the last 13 years now. Another person I just need to highlight is Hume Scholes. He's a renowned mineral rights lawyer here in South Africa. He's helped us a lot to push this mining right through. And then, if you look on the next slide, we've got Tuzama and Levuyo that's joined us. Tuzama joined us about a year ago, and she was very instrumental in navigating our mining right through all the regulatory processes where it got granted by middle of July. And then recently our general manager Levuyo joined us, and his main responsibility is to push forward with the execution of the mining project. All right, I just want to give you a bit of an overview of where we are. Just give me a second. Sorry. Okay, so as I mentioned, we are in the middle of Joburg. We're probably about 15 kilometers to the west of the Joburg CBD. That's a renowned mining area there. And, you know, there's still a number of blocks available, and we've then identified one of those that we can then start mining. And as I mentioned earlier, we've just declared our feasibility study. You can see there's a couple of highlights. We've just declared about 280,000 ounces in reserve. And, you know, we plan over the life of mine of 17 years to mine about 660,000 ounces from that ore body. And you can see there, I think we've got, comparing to all the other underground mines in the area, we've got quite a positive and a strong AISC cost of about 1,150 per ounce. And then, you know, I think a good number is, because it's such a long life of mine, we've got a 1027 steady state AISC cost, you know. So we're quite excited to put this project into operation. All right, this slide here just indicates where this project in South Africa is located. You can see it's located on a renowned gold area, gold mining area, where in this area, you know, over 41 million ounces have been extracted already, you know. And if you look at our JORC compliant resource estimate, you can see the 3.5 that I just spoke about. What's significant about this is that almost 2/3 of that sits in the measured and indicated category. So we've got a very well-defined ore body. We understand the mining in that area. And you know, that's going to help us to push forward with the execution of the mine. During this process of the feasibility study, we identified some areas where we needed to upgrade our resource and then to transfer from the inferred into the indicated and measured, that would allow us in our early mining to declare reserves in our early mining, at least in our first 5 years. So we've embarked on a drilling campaign, and that, you know, of about 2,500 meters, that allowed us to you know, convert further reserves or further inferred resources into measured and indicated resources. And then, that was also used to upgrade one of our exploration targets, the K9A or the Kimberley Reef 9A, into a resource. All right. This is a picture where you can see what the extent of our mining block looks like, especially for the Kimberleys. And this Kimberley, this block that you see there in front of you, that's the subject of our DFS, from surface down to about 500 meters. And you can see what's the extent of this ore body. We've got about 3,000 meters on strike. And then a further opportunity that we've got is we can go further down than 500 meters, where we then can start mining what we call the Qala deeps area. And that also gives us a significant life of mine after the Qala shallows. So on this picture here, if I can refer you to the picture on the left, there you can see our 5 distinctive mining areas that we plan to put into operation over time. And then on the right-hand side, you can see our scoping study production profile that would then sort of put these mining areas into operation. We started our DFS with Qala shallows. The next project that will follow will be our Main Reef and Bird Reef East, and then we'll put our Qala Deeps into operation, and then at the end we'll put our Bird Reef Central project into operation. So what's exciting about this is that we sit with one project, the dark blue one that we've just completed the DFS on, but we've got all these other projects in the pipeline that will come online. As we put the Qala shallows into operation, we'll directly move over into the Bird Reef East and then into the Main Reef. So we sit here with the opportunity where we can create a mine that's going to produce 80,000 ounces for over 17 years with a peak production rate of about 90,000. And with a life of mine of about 24 years. So there's a lot more to come than just this feasibility study. And I hope this picture shows that us as a team will focus on getting the Qala shallows into operation. And then we've already got projects on the line to put the other 2 projects or the other stages into operation. So this is just a summary sheet that I quickly want to share with you regarding our DFS that we announced this morning. As I mentioned there, we're quite excited to have this completed now. And you can see there that we've just declared about 280,000 ounces as a reserve, but then we've got the opportunity to produce about 660 if we include then our inferred resources. And just this one project, and you must remember, if you look back at that production graph, you must recall that that is just the dark blue graph of all the other ones, so there's a lot more to come. So this one alone has got a 17-year life of mine. We can see there that we've got as I mentioned earlier, we've got a competitive operating cost there. We've got a relatively low peak funding requirement of 50 years. We've got a payback of 5 years. And the reason for that is we've got to rehabilitate the shaft. And then because it's an old mining area that we've got to go into, we've got to navigate into the sort of the fresh workings, leaving the old workings above us. So even though it takes a bit of time to get there, we hope to speed that up. But then also, once we're there, we still sit with another 12 years or so of operation. And that will then also, a lot of that development work that we will do will be used to roll over into the Qala Deeps mine, which will then sort of give us further, let's say, value for the capital that we've spent. All right, you can see there just this one project that we're putting into operation will yield us about 53,000 ounce per annum at steady state. And then, this project alone is going to give us an NPV of about 150 million ounces at a gold price of about, I think we worked on 1750. So it's a robust project for us to take forward. And we've already started what they call an early works program to, to try and pull back that 5.5 years build up, or payback period. This is just a nice picture that I show you where we've got the blue areas, the waste development that we've got to do, with the green areas, then the ore that's coming online. And then the black line shows our run of mine ounces that we would mine. And as I mentioned there, you can clearly see we're running between 53,000, 55,000 ounces for the single project. So yeah, and I just need to emphasize again, this is one of 5 projects that we can bring online. And we've got then the opportunity to grow this 50 up to 80 and 90,000 ounces as per our scoping study. All right. This is just a nice picture of, a 3D representation of the focus area of the Qala shallows that would sit there on top in the blue and the pink. You can see the blue is the K9A reef, and then the pink is the K9B reef, and they are almost superimposed on top of each other. So that's the benefit of that is that, they sit approximately 5 to 7 meters away from each other. So we only have to put in infrastructure to mine the K9B, and then the infrastructure for the K9A has then already been paid for itself. Right. Then allow me just a couple of minutes more to jump onto our exciting Mount Cecelia project. As I mentioned, you can see there on this picture where it's located. It's currently located within all the action taking place there in WA. So we're quite happy to be in the middle of all the action. As I mentioned earlier, we've just completed, last year we completed an aerial survey. We've just completed a ground survey. So our geological team is now interpreting the data to get us drill-ready targets, so that we can start with our drilling campaign in 22 when the new field season opens up. This picture there just shows the tenement area and the 8 targets that we've identified, and we've taken 4 of those now through a ground survey area. All right. When I started the presentation, I mentioned that we've set ourselves out to achieve 3 key objectives, namely growing the mineral resource base, establishing the mining operation, and then enhancing the value of our Mount Cecelia project. And as you can see here, all the objectives we're being met, and we're ticking off the boxes as we go along. So I would like to thank you for this opportunity, for giving me the time to explain and introduce West Wits to you. And thank you very much. And please join us on the journey going forward. Thank you very much.